Okay, let's watch the Ukrainian troops.
Troops are watching and waiting, saying they are preparing for a fight.
The U.S. has ordered the families of embassy staff to leave Ukraine. Britain has sent all of their non-essential staff home. And now
They were
the
probably
US
so
is
excited
sending
when they found a
tons
blandly
of
handsome guy who could do
weapons and
this.
munitions to Ukraine's army.
No, this is
And we're
his
even
this is his
considering
own page now. Like he used to do
Oh,
it for
damn.
Vox, and he did it for the New York Times a bunch. But I track planes and ships and trains, but I'm not CIA, just a
deploying
nerd.
our own troops to the region.
Michael, you know, you could have been the owner of that Twitter account that tracks Elon Musk's private jet. You would have been the recipient of 5,000 whole new dollars and the world's wealthiest person. You hear that? You hear that story, right? Bro, $5,000, really? You're the wealthiest dude. I mean, it is extortion, kind of.
It is, but like him, like $5,000. Like, come on.
Like that's a joke.
He could give her 500, and he wouldn't even notice.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
damn,
crazy,
dude, man. He like opened himself up for that too by starting with 5.
I mean, this thing is
The real O block of the world, Ukraine.
Yeah.
heating
Hey,
up.
Dan.
Meanwhile, Russia and the West have been in Geneva and Brussels trying to talk it out and sort of getting nowhere.
The message is very clear. Should Russia take further aggressive actions against Ukraine, the costs will be severe and the consequences serious.
It's a scary, grim momentum that is unpredictable, and the chances of miscalculation and escalation are growing. I want to explain what's going on here, but I want to show you that this isn't just typical geopolitical behavior, stuff that can just be explained on the map. Instead, to understand why 100,000 troops are camped out on Ukraine's eastern border, ready for war, you have to understand Russia and how it's been cut down over the ages, from a Slavic empire that dominated this whole region to then the Soviet Union, which was defeated in the 90s. And what you really have to understand here is how that history is
Ottoman Empire better.
transposed onto the brain of one
Lasted
man.
longer.
This guy,
True. Longer.
Vladimir
Owned.
Putin. This is a story about regional domination.
Wait, who
and-
said didn't someone literally say the Ottoman Empire was socialist or something? I don't want to
Wait,
give him
no.
clout. I don't want to give him clout. No. Let's not do that. Let's
I mean,
not
I
do that.
agree.
All right,
do
let's not.
agree.
Let's just
struggles
continue.
between big powers, but really, it's the story about what Vladimir Putin really wants.
Russian troops moving swiftly to take control of military bases in Crimea.
This is like FaZe Banks' editor. It's very similar to the FaZe Vlogs editing. Same idea. I get it. You gotta get editing jobs wherever.
Before we go any further, I want to say thank you to today's sponsor, which is BetterHelp.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, dude.
Oh
what-
my fucking god.
Do you feel bad? Do you feel bad about
BetterHelp.
geopolitical conflicts that have nothing to do with you, but
Oh
like
my
you know, the media
God.
has fucking whipped you into thinking that like you know this is the best course of action? Get better help.
BetterHelp is
More and
one of the
more
most
troops
evil
to
companies.
this border.
Like evil
It's this
new
massive
companies.
border between Ukraine
Like,
and
god
Russia.
damn.
They said they were doing a military.
Better help is making me turn into a Scientologist.
Kind of, yeah, no. I mean, someone I know posted screenshots of them, like, just seeing what it's like. And it's just like, it is literally if you told the Verizon help bot, you would get better results. Like, it's so fucking bad. It's so fucking evil. And they're probably harvesting everyone's data.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
the
awful.
Verizon help bot.
It'd be more
Don't
helpful.
do that.
They'd be like, oh, no, don't do it. FiOS is coming to your area.
Oh Jesus Christ!
military exercise. But the
By the way,
rest of
BetterHelp is literally the future, though. Like
Yeah.
every medical, like it's getting to a point where I'm seeing a lot more of this. Like first it was like balding pills, like Hims, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And now they're doing it for ADHD medication. And then finally it's going to be insulin. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
going to be like, oh, you don't have insurance, like no one does, or you're out of a job. Well, here, let's subscribe to our subscription service and we'll get you subscription-based medicine, which I don't even have a problem with, I feel like, especially if it's like real medicine, if it's like real medication. But with BetterHelp, it's like you're never going to get therapy. You're never going to be able to get that approved by your insurance. So you might as well talk to some, artificially like machine learning algorithm.
Yeah. I mean, most of it is like, that is kind of the future because it will be like, okay, you're going to get this generic at a discounted price. And part of the conceit of that is that we're harvesting your data. And that's how the bread gets buttered on the other side. And like for the ADHD thing, like I kind of, part of me is kind of like, everyone who does an email job kind of like would benefit from taking like a little bit of Adderall, because it's like, your reaction to like looking at screens all day is going to like mirror the symptoms of ADHD because that's probably what you're supposed to feel from that. It's not a natural state. And I'm generally in favor of adults being able to buy whatever drugs they want very conveniently.
Speaking of harvesting, biomedical data.
Is that a Fitbit?
It's not a Fitbit. It's even worse than that. Want to see?
Is it an Apple Watch?
No, it's worse than that.
What is it?
It's a Whoop.
The fuck is a Whoop?
So, here, I'll just show you this. My friend who's like I have some normie friends that are, living like normal lives in New York. Like one of them is a finance guy. He loves, not an ad. Shut the fuck up, chat. Here, look. It literally tracks, like, it's crazy. You can like tell if you have COVID.
No fucking way. They're lying.
Dude,
they're lying.
It's insane. I mean, maybe.
No, they can't. No, they can't. How do they tell that?
I mean,
they're not going in your nose. Get out of here.
No, but it's saying you, like, it'll tell you if you have COVID-like symptoms.
Oh, okay. But I know if I have COVID symptoms.
Where is it? It's like, it shows you, well, I got it because of my sleep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, I want to see, like, if I'm sleeping, but like, look, dude, nailed it. 6 hours of sleep today. 22.5% of my time asleep was spent in deep sleep, which is optimal amount for healthy adults.
Okay, that's
good. I got
good.
10 disturbances. Don't know what that's about. Gotta lower that number. But it's like that. It's that sort of shit. And it shows you your like respiratory rate, stuff like that. It shows you when you had disturbances, things like that. And then, when you're actually like working out, it'll monitor your blood pressure and everything else. And, it tells you how many calories you potentially burned throughout the day. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like, the sleep thing seems good. I just I don't like the idea of everything else. And I think them saying that they can detect if you have COVID, they're capping. That's medical cap, the worst type.
The chatters that were saying Aura, this is exactly the same as Aura, for the record. This is like, it looks exactly like Aura. Like, even
what's Aura?
Aura is the ring version of this, what I'm wearing. It seems even better than that, to be honest. Yeah, $30 a month to be surveilled. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's like $30 subscription.
You can do it for free. You can just like respond to a DM and be like, "This is where I live." You can like see if I'm sleeping. How good of a job did I do sleeping?
I did get the Gen 4 chatters. I did get the Gen 4 one. Okay, we're getting back to the video. Don't worry.
The world was like, yeah.
Oh, actually, I brought you here to cancel you for your AV.
What did I? Oh, for Cap?
No, for not Cap. The pho.
Oh yeah.
Said pho.
I was usually like when people like I wake up and I have like a bunch of new notifications, like weird, like just like, oh fuck you. It's usually because of the guy who called Felix from Chapo, like getting in trouble, like annoying people, and people think that's me. And for once, this was actually me. This was actually something I said. It was Look, if you don't know me, you would think I was serious when I was saying that. I get it.
Yeah. Even though what is your username right now? Like Evil Baller or something?
Yeah, Evil Baller.
Clearly not.
But I'm using a face profile picture, so it's like you take everything a little more seriously when it's not like a weird picture like I usually do.
Russia. This was right before this big meeting where North American and European countries were coming together to talk about a lot of different things, like these countries often do in these diplomatic summits. But soon, because of Russia's aggressive behavior coming in and setting up 100,000 troops on the border with Ukraine, the entire summit turned into a whole WTF Russia, what are you doing on the border of Ukraine meeting. Before the meeting, Putin comes out.
What's the other country on the border of Ukraine? Like what's the country that they're moving their troops around in? Oh, that's right. It's their own country. They're talking about Russia. Because they keep saying stop saying Belarus, dude.
Says, listen, I have some demands for the West. And everyone's like, okay, Russia, what are your demands? We have like COVID-19 right now, and like that's like surging. So like, we don't need your like bluster about what your demands are. And Putin's like, no, here's my list of demands. Putin's demands for the summit were this. Number one, that NATO, which is this big military alliance between US, Canada, and Europe, stop expanding, meaning they don't let any new members in, okay? So Russia's like, no more new members to your like cool military club that I don't like. You can't have any more members. Number 2, that NATO withdraw all of their troops from anywhere in Eastern Europe. Basically, Putin is saying, I can veto any military cooperation or troops going between countries that have to do with Eastern Europe, the place that used to be the Soviet Union, okay? And number 3, Putin demands that America vow not to protect its allies in Eastern Europe with nuclear weapons. LOL, said all of the other countries. You're literally nuts, Vladimir Putin. Like, these are the most ridiculous demands ever. But there he is, Putin, with these demands, these very, very aggressive demands.
This is how you do negotiations, okay? If you want number 1, you put 2 and 3 in there, and then they say these 2 are not going to happen, so we'll just give you number 1. And number 1 is the reasonable one.
Well, like, yeah, why does NATO have to keep expanding?
Yeah, like, what is that?
It's just like, yeah, it's just like a default that it's supposed to keep expanding forever, that we're supposed to keep adding new members.
No, it's just like, that's what I don't understand. Like, this makes sense. Like, okay, this makes sense. These 2, too late, GG's, okay? They already did that, you know, good luck. You're not going to be able to push that back anytime soon, especially. I mean, you can't even fucking build a pipeline. You can't even build a second pipeline into Europe. So, not going to happen for the time being. So it's just like, you know, you say all 3 of these, and then these 2 you knock out, number 2 and number 3 you knock out, and then number 1 is reasonable.
And he sort of is implying that if his demands aren't met, he's going to invade Ukraine. I mean, it doesn't work like this. This is not how international relations work. You don't just show up and say, like, I'm not going to allow other countries
Yeah,
to
no
join
NATO
your
country
alliance
ever does
because it makes
that.
me feel
No NATO country ever just like makes a demand, then does it anyway.
Yeah.
uncomfortable. But what I love about this list of demands from Vladimir Putin for this summit is that it gives us a clue on what Vladimir Putin really wants, what he's after here. You read them closely and you can grasp his intentions. But to grasp those intentions, you have to understand what NATO is and what Russia and Ukraine used to be. Okay, so a while back I made this video about why Russia is so damn big, where I explain how modern-day Russia started here in Kiev, which is actually modern-day Ukraine. In other words, modern-day Russia, as we know it, has its original roots in Ukraine. These places grew up together, and they eventually became a part of the same mega empire called the Soviet Union. They were deeply intertwined, not just in their history and their culture, but also in their economy and their politics. So it's after World War II, it's like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and NATO was formed, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This was a military alliance between all of these countries that was meant...
I love the like childish personification they do for these entire states with hundreds and hundreds of years of history and complex alliances and events. It's incredibly childish bullshit where it's like they grew up together. Russia is like a bad ex.
I mean, they have to simplify it for the libs, but can you, chatters, can you send me a link? Can someone send me a fucking link of the video? Send me a clip of how bad the noise gate is.
Oh my god, do I look like I'm in Oklahoma?
Why would your play be set in Oklahoma?
You thought I was auditioning for Oklahoma.
I haven't read it. So.
Are you making fun of me, or did you actually think I was auditioning for Oklahoma?
Why the fuck would you audition for Oklahoma?
That's how the show was filmed.
Yeah,
that's how it is.
That's just how it is, dude.
That's how it sounds to me.
Yeah, sorry. You know, it's a little demonly, you know? Whatever.
It's not, it's...
It adds to the fucking ambiance, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Dude, it's creepy. It's euphoria.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Scary. It's about scary high school.
Russia is scary. Russia's a scary country, and you need to know how scary Russia is, and the best way to fucking explain it to you is by doubling the audio.
We were just looking at scary high school. We're looking at the scary countries.
Yeah.
Deter the Soviet Union from expanding and taking over the world. But, as we all know, the Soviet Union, which was Russia and all of these other countries, collapsed in 1991. And all of these Soviet republics, including Ukraine, became independent, meaning they were not now a part of one big block of countries anymore. But just because the borders all split up, it doesn't mean that these cultural ties actually broke.
I lowered the audio, that's why it's better.
The Soviet leader at the time of the collapse of the Soviet Union, this guy, Gorbachev, he was the son of a Ukrainian mother and a Russian father. Like, he grew
was
up with his
biracial.
mother singing him Ukrainian folk songs. In his mind, Ukraine and Russia were like one thing. So there was major reluctance.
Wait, is he just about to be like Russia and Ukraine are the same, so it should belong to Russia?
I think it would be cool.
Where is he going with this?
I'm interested to see what he does. I'm interested to see.
No, he's gonna do the fucking the Taiwan argument, which is like mainland China belongs to us.
Yeah, no, that would be sick.
He's gonna say Ukraine belongs to Russia.
That would
or
be
Russia
sick.
belongs to Ukraine.
I've never seen someone do that. That would with this. That would be tight.
Yeah,
that would
he's
be
gonna
tight.
he's gonna do. Oh, Chinese Taipei. Guess what? Mainland China is actually Taiwan.
We're gonna unleash. Who's the version of unleashing Shanghai Shek? I guess Bandera. Bandera probably.
This is sick. I want to see where he goes with that.
right.
That would be really
All right.
cool if he was just like, actually, technically, the entirety of Russia is Ukrainian territory.
Yeah, he's doing like Game of
Accept
Thrones. He's like,
Ukraine
actually,
as
the
a
last
separate-
prince was half
Yeah.
Ukrainian.
Yeah, no, I
gotta see
respect
this.
that. I respect that.
thing from Russia. In so many ways, they are one. There was another Russian at the time who did not accept this new division. This young intelligence officer, Vladimir Putin, who was starting to rise up in the ranks of post-Soviet Russia. There's this amazing quote from 2005 where Putin is giving the State of the Union address, where Putin declares the collapse
He
of
is
the
very
Soviet
good at like
Union,
these like
quote,
sexy edits though.
Like,
Like
this shit's clean.
like he makes it seem like it's a Netflix movie they were watching. Like he does have a really good editor.
This shit's clean.
the greatest catastrophe of the 20th century. And that's
For
the
them,
Russian
it
people,
was?
became a genuine tragedy.
It fucking
Tens of
destroyed. It
millions of
destroyed
I don't
them in every
understand
way.
why wouldn't he say that? That's like what the fuck?
Americans looted their fucking country. They destroyed life
It's-
expectancy, standard of life, like fucking everything. Like,
It's
what the fuck
literally
are you
true.
talking about?
It's true.
It is true.
I can't believe Vladimir Putin said like this very true thing.
This guy just,
That's
the
just
way he
real.
skips, exactly what we were talking about, just skips over the 90s. It's like the Soviet Union collapsed. No one knows what happens, then Putin. What happened in between there? You're missing a step.
Well, yeah, because that's not about that. This is about fucking, no.
Yeah. This is
No,
not how you negotiate.
You stop, Mr. Putin. But like, it's pretty funny because this objectively true statement is supposed to imply that it's like bad.
Well, yeah, that like every
That was-
Russian should see the end of it. Like it would only this would only be an outrageous statement if everyone's life became like amazing in the fucking 90s.
Yeah. Turk savagely murdered 1.5. This is my favorite. Capitalism wins. Coming in hot with like the Armenian genocide. It's like I don't deny it. So I don't know why I wonder why they created a sock account to say that in here.
Citizens and countrymen found themselves beyond the fringes of Russian territory.
Why can't you guys say US bad and also Russia bad? No, we did say that already. Like
I'm saying, I said it was like a hollowed out kleptocracy. That
Like-
it's like a terrible place to live specifically because of what the West did. Like, what do you want?
Well, I mean, also Vladimir Putin is a dog shit as well. He's a dog shit autocrat, one of the wealthiest people on the fucking planet. Like, what? This is not new. Like, I don't understand. But the reason why you think we're not saying Russia bad is because you have no way of comprehending like a world in which America is not being the world police or justifying that to you in some capacity. You know what I mean? You just, the moment that you say like America should not expand NATO into another like border and use Ukraine as a fucking launching pad and threaten Russia's autonomy, threaten Russia's sovereignty, while claiming that they're doing it specifically to fucking defend Ukraine from Russian expansionist policies, which I don't think that's the reason. You know, you say, oh, you must mean you must be a Vladimir Putin puppet.
And again, is every State Department since the last 2 years of Bush, is every president, both parties, all cable news, all major media outlets, is that not enough?
No, they have to
Like
hear it here too.
everyone's like saying this. Yeah, is that not enough people, not enough forces bringing up the point that like Putin's bad? Is that not enough?
No, they have to hear. You have to hear it too as well. You literally have to hear it from me at all times. That's what the same with China. No, whenever I talk about a country that is quote unquote an American adversary, regardless of how deep and intertwined our fucking trade relationships are with that country, like China, I have to consistently and routinely be like, China is bad. Like, I wouldn't want to live there, or you know what I mean? Like, they just fucking lose their shit if I don't say something that's like bad about China. Like, come on, give us something bad about China. And it's the same energy always. Like, it's the same thing that, like, centrists, like the centrists that are always center right for some reason, is saying, like, oh, well, what about BLM? Talk about white supremacy all the time. What about BLM? Like, not that, Russia is BLM in this argument, but it's just you always have to, like, hear something. You always have to hear something about the other side. Come on.
You see how he frames this? The Soviet Union were all one people in his mind. And after it collapsed, all of these people who were a part of the motherland were now outside of the fringes or the boundaries of Russian territory. First off, fact check. Greatest catastrophe of the 20th century? Like, do you remember what else happened in the 20th century, Vladimir?
What?
Well, he's saying like World War II was like a worst catastrophe, which is like,
dude, he fucking owned him.
Yeah, destroyed him.
Absolutely, dude. You know what? Vladimir Putin should probably, if he watched this video, he'd resign.
Yeah, I love how he's doing he's doing like the Marvel like
fact check.
Yeah. Oh, is that? Yeah.
He just fucking fact checked him. Yeah. You, sir, get 4 Pinocchios.
What if Putin like resigned? Like he saw this video, he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh no, what have I done?
I feel like an asshole. I feel like such an asshole. I'm going back to school.
I cannot believe I forgot about
I forgot about World War II.
Oh.
Oh my god. He's doing like Joss Whedon, like they fly now. Like shit.
Yeah.
Putin's worry about the collapse of this one people starts to get way worse when the West, his enemy, starts showing up to his neighborhood, to all these ex-Soviet countries that are now independent. The West starts selling their ideology of democracy and capitalism and inviting them to join their military alliance called NATO. And guess what? These countries are totally buying it. All these ex-Soviet countries are now joining NATO, and some of them.
I love that, like, this, simple explainer never talks about the plunder in the post-USSR democratization of its marketplace, or what has happened to post-Soviet countries. What kind of motivations could there be? It's like, if you don't join NATO, you're either with NATO or you're against NATO. There's a reason why Turkey was allowed to industrialize in the way that it did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's complicated. It's not just NATO, but that allegiance certainly helped Turkey not turn into Iran or not turn into any of these other Muslim countries in the MENA region. You know what I mean? Yes, Turkey is in NATO. That's what I'm saying. Because it's a protection racket. NATO and the American government and Western imperialist forces operate like the mafia. And if you don't join them, then, who knows what could happen.
I would love to hear this guy describe, a mafia protection racket. The Chicago outfit offered brotherhood and loyalty and selling its vision of cooperative businesses to shops and bars, all up the Magnificent Mile.
This is not a bad comparison. The NATO absolutely is an extension of the American foreign policy that is exactly like a protection racket. We build bases in your country. We give you weapons. You got to defend yourself from the big scary guys, right? And half the time, the big scary guys are themselves. You know what I mean? It'd be real sad if your fucking storefront got destroyed, or you had an accident in the kitchen and it's just like your whole business lit on fire. We got to stop that from happening. That's why you give us a little bit of money and we'll protect you. We'll take care of you. That's exactly how they work. Turkey's the second largest army in NATO, but Chad doesn't. Yes, Turkey is a NATO country. You know what happened in Turkey? I mean, they built fucking bases with missiles pointed directly at the USSR. That's why the USSR went and built bases in Cuba. That's why the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, because Turkey was part of NATO and built missiles, American missiles.
The EU, and Putin is hating this. He's like, not only did the Soviet Union divide and all of these people are now outside of the Russia motherland, but now they're being persuaded by the West to join their military alliance. This is terrible news. Over the years, this continues to happen while Putin himself starts to chip away at Russian...
Doesn't this imply that the USA controls Russia, i.e. they're the ones who break the window? No, because it's not just the mafia that breaks the window. Obviously, there are other real threats out there as well. There's legitimate threats out there as well. I'm not saying that America is the only fucking game in town, but the American game in town is way more powerful. It is absolutely incomprehensible to like make a comparison to what Russia can do or has done to what America does do on a regular basis, some of which you are currently advocating for in the chat without even realizing. Yeah, of course they see Russia as a legitimate threat. I'm not even saying Russia's threat is illegitimate. I get it. If you live in a post-Soviet country, yes, there are still, you know, certain people in your ministries that are super sympathetic to Russia and want to have allegiance with Russia. But ultimately, I understand why you would be fearful of that kind of encroaching. But that doesn't change the reality that, like, the other side is not better. You might think it's better, but it's not.
Yeah, like, he's saying now that Putin weakened Russian institutions. So nothing before that weakened them.
No.
Nothing like selling these massive state concerns for pennies on the dollar to the guy who had the best racket, the guy who had the most shooters. Nothing like that. Nothing like looting the entire infrastructure. Not what Bill Broder did, not what any of these guys did. It was everything was great, then Putin got in there and weakened every institution.
This is true. Turkey wasn't allowed to industrialize. The U.S. rejected Turkish loans for requests for factories, so Menderes limited all turned to the Soviet Union for loans. That's why all three of them got overthrown. Yes, except I meant like Turkey was allowed to industrialize in comparison to neighboring countries and wasn't turned into a crater that had a gigantic power vacuum in which like the most reactionary fucking forces were able to overtake, oftentimes with American help. Even though the Turkish governments that were pro-America were still ultra-nationalist or right-wing and definitely anti-communist. But I'm talking about like the difference between Turkey and Iran.
Making them weaker and weaker. He's silencing his rivals, and he's consolidating power in himself. And in the past few years, he's effectively silenced anyone who can challenge him. Any institution, any court, or any political rival have all been silenced. It's been decades since the Soviet Union fell, but as Putin gains more power, he still sees the region through the lens of the old Cold War, Soviet, Slavic Empire view. He sees this region as one big block that has been torn apart by outside forces. The greatest catastrophe of the 20th century. And the worst situation of all of these, according to Putin, is Ukraine, which was like the gem of the Soviet Union.
Also, he might not think like the Nazi, the collapse of, Nazi Germany was a political catastrophe because the USSR technically played a pivotal, if not, the most important role in defeating the Nazis. So that from his point of view, it's understandable that the collapse of the Soviet Union is the worst thing that happened. I don't know why he's like, I don't know why that's an own and how he's going back to that.
Tons of cultural heritage. Again, Russia sort of started in Ukraine. Not to mention, it was a very populous and industrious, resource-rich place. And over the years, Ukraine has been drifting west. It hasn't joined NATO yet, but more and more it's been electing pro-Western presidents. It's been flirting with membership in NATO. It's becoming less and less attached to the Russian heritage that Putin so adores. And more than half of Ukrainians say that they'd be down to join the EU. 64% of them say that they would be cool joining NATO. But Putin can't handle this. He is in total denial. Like an ex-boyfriend who can't handle his ex-girlfriend starting to date someone
You're missing
else.
the goal.
No, I heard, no, he did it.
He did do that. He literally did it. It's like
No.
an ex-boyfriend.
He snapped.
That's what it is. It's like, no, it doesn't have like joining NATO has no serious like geopolitical consequences for Russia in any meaningful capacity. And also, like, who's the fucking ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend in this analogy? Like when Russia wants to build a second pipeline into Europe, and then one country decides, no, that's not in our best interest. That country is fucking 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 miles away from Russia. Who's the ex-boyfriend and ex-girlfriend in that situation? Like,
That's America is the guy who's like, anything you do to my daughter, you have to do to me. You want to run pipeline through my daughter?
You need to
have to
fucking
put it
pipe
all the
me
way
first.
through from my asshole to my mouth.
yeah. And it's so strange. Like, so what's up? What's that? What's that about? Like when Russia wants to build a second pipeline, and America's like, no, you can't do that. What do we ever question that? Do we ever go like, that's kind of strange?
Right. There's no
Like,
interrogation of like why America should dictate any of this.
And for people who are saying whataboutism, no, the reason why I'm mentioning that is because obviously NATO being in Ukraine is of that exact same fucking attitude. And that's why you don't even question it. And you're like, it's out of the question. It's of course the Ukraine should join NATO. And, you know, of course we have to have fucking bases there. Like, what do you mean? This makes no sense. It's the same exact attitude that Americans have. So there it is.
Putin can't let Ukraine go. He won't let go. So for the past decade, he's been trying to keep the West out and bring Ukraine back into the motherland of Russia. This usually takes the form of Putin sending secret soldiers from Russia into Ukraine to help the people in Ukraine who want to like separate from Ukraine and join Russia. It also takes the form of, oh yeah, stealing entire parts of Ukraine for Russia.
Russian troops moving swiftly to take control of military
This is
bases.
what I'm saying. It belongs to Turks. Crimea belongs to Turks.
Yeah, no, they're just holding it.
Yeah,
they're
shut
holding
up.
it until the rightful owner
Shut
comes
up,
back.
Johnny. Like, what do you know?
Yeah.
The fuck do you know, bro? What do you know about the Tatars, huh? What do you know about the Crimeans whose princes used to be basically fucking educated in Istanbul and like wherever the Ottomans were, and that they would be the second in if the Ottoman Empire is like, you know, if the emperor's lineage ever ended, then, you know, the Crimean Tatars would be the ones who fucking actually continue.
This guy is too shook to make this video about Turkey.
Yeah.
He would never do it.
But just like he should have done the Ukraine, like Russia belongs to Ukraine video.
Yeah, no.
It would have been so much cooler.
He's got some burn. I saw this, like, this has like 300K views, right? He's like, you know, like a moderately successful like commentary YouTuber, I guess. I think they were psyched when they saw like a sort of like conventionally like blandly handsome, like, you know, this guy knocks it out of the park on Hinge type journalist. And they're like, you're going on video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you have to see. Oh my God, Felix, you have to see his fucking older videos. Like we started watching Johnny Harris. I've always been fascinated with him since he did these videos about like different cultures and their breakfasts. Like, he's awesome. He is like he's like the perfect liberal guy. I don't know how else to describe it.
He seems like his
He's a perfect liberal man.
His appearance, his affect, he's like the personification of like reading The Atlantic in your dermatologist's office.
Yeah.
If that became a person.
Yeah, 100%. But he actually does, though. He actually reads it.
No, yeah. He's like, I'm very curious. I want to see his evolution because this is very refined.
Oh no, he's always been this way. He's
always been refined like this.
Yeah, he's always been this way. Like, I think he was way more narcissistic early on, and the only thing, he's ex-Mormon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Should have started off right there.
You should have told me that.
Yeah.
He's okay. That totally changes everything for me. He's probably 63 years old. He just like looks that good. He's just like hasn't even touched soda. He's 63 years old. He has 17 kids. It's like, yeah.
He's great.
I did not know he was ex-Mormon. Damn. I have trouble spotting Mormons and ex-Mormons sometimes. I really have to work on it.
Yeah, he did like Israeli settlers on Vox. This video wasn't that bad though. If I remember correctly.
Okay.
This video actually was like, you know, I don't know.
Because Vox had really bad Israel coverage at first. They had that guy who said that there's a bridge that connects West Bank and Gaza.
Oh yeah, that's true. And then what did he was like, well, there isn't, but like they're planning on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's awesome. That guy's my man.
Yeah, you know, wasn't that like literally the Jared like it was in the Jared plan.
Yeah,
He's
making the
one who
bridge.
built it.
Yeah.
He's the one who was like, yeah, this is good.
He read that article in like 2015 and was like, this is heat. This is fire. So he did.
It was very bad? I don't remember that. Hold on, let's continue with this.
Is in Crimea.
Like in 2014, Putin just did this.
To what America is officially calling a Russian invasion of Ukraine.
He went down and just snatched.
It's just like, how do you pair what like the Ukrainian leadership is saying right now and what like Ukrainian people are saying, which is hard to get a read on, but like what the Ukrainian leadership says routinely about like, America, chill the fuck out. Like, you're literally agitating for war. Like, we do not want this. With what the American media is saying. Like, Joe Biden is supposed to have a conversation on the phone with Ukrainian authorities tomorrow to urge them to understand the severity of the risk posed by Russia.
Yeah.
It's like, you think they don't know? Like, I don't understand. You think they don't fucking know? No, he's like, no, I'm going to talk about it. Like, they're going to do... Listen, Jack.
You don't understand the danger you're in. It's like it's their neighborhood. They know.
You don't get it, Jack. The Mac attack is coming.
He's gonna he's gonna put on like a turtleneck and throw some medicine balls. He's getting back in shape for the war with Ukraine.
This bit of Ukraine and folded it into Russia. So you're starting to see what's going on here. Putin's life...
I got worried. It's fine. It's just this. It's not... You can't hear the smacking. It's this. It's Vladimir Putin's palace.
Work.
He's balling. Is that the one in Sochi?
Dude, he's...
Who is a cooler palace?
Emho's gonna kill us. Emho's gonna get us killed. Doxing Putin.
Greatest catastrophe of the 20th century.
Who has
the division
the cooler palace?
And
Him
the
or Erdogan?
separation of the Soviet
Erdogan's is
republics
pretty
from
cold.
Russia.
I'm not gonna lie about that.
Let's get to present day.
Erdogan's palace is pretty cool.
Yeah, this shit's fucking hot.
Here it is.
Ooh.
I mean, that's pretty fire.
Sick. That's fucking sick.
Erdogan's palace declared
Oh my
illegal by
God.
Turkish court. Yeah,
People
right.
don't want to see you win, you know?
Yeah, you can't stop them,
That's
dude.
sick. That's so sick.
They revoked the building permit that had been issued to build the palace.
That's a shame.
It was illegally built on protected land.
What he said was awesome too, where he's like, no, this is a gift to all of Turkey.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I agree. He's right. That shit's awesome. I would do anything to just like spend a week there. I would sell. I guess Turkey actually doesn't need entertainment industry secrets.
They have
their own
pretty
shit.
poppin'.
They have their own shit. There's nothing I can give them. Maybe podcasts.
Felix, an Israeli couple got in trouble recently for taking pics of that palace from a really tall tower across the city. Wait, what the fuck?
Oh, damn, dude. Were they spitting? They were like,
Wait, I gotta crank up the fucking the AC. I don't know why it turned off. I'll be back in a second.
Putin is at it.
It's hot.
And honestly, if you really want to understand the mind of Vladimir Putin and his whole view on this, you have to read
Every other guy.
he looks like sort of like
On the
Ethan
History
Hawke.
of
Maybe.
Unity
I don't know.
of
I'm really bad with
Russians
faces,
and
but he looks like someone.
Ukrainians by Vladimir Putin. A blog post that kind of sounds like a 9th grade history essay. In this essay, Vladimir Putin argues that Russia and Ukraine are one.
The other Turkish guy
He
getting
calls
canceled for a
them
house. It's good.
essentially the same historical and spiritual space. Beautiful writing, honestly.
I didn't see you said that. That was funny.
He argues that the division.
Yeah, Ewan
between
McGregor.
the
He
two
looks like Ewan
countries
McGregor,
Is
yes.
due to quote a deliberate effort by those forces
Absolutely.
that have always sought to undermine our unity, and that the formula they use, these outside forces, is a classic one: divide and rule. And then he launches into this
Yeah, they
super
invented divide and
in-depth,
conquer, didn't they?
like 10-page argument as to every single historical beat of Ukraine and Russia's history to make this argument.
I'm not
that, like,
slandering
this is
Ewan
one
McGregor.
people
I'm saying they're
and
both
the
like
division
good-looking
is
guys.
Totally because of outside
Like in
powers,
Anglo,
i.e. the West.
Scottish or whatever, Scots-Irish
listen,
way, you know.
There's this moment at the
I
end
wish I
of
looked
the
like
post that actually
life would be a
kind of
lot
hit
easier,
me
believe
in
me.
a big way. He says this: just have a look at
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
Austria
run an
and
ad right
Germany,
now, Mike.
or the U.S. and Canada, how they live next to each other, close in ethnic composition, culture, and in fact sharing one language. They remain sovereign states with their own interests, with their own foreign policy, but this does not prevent them from the closest integration or allied relations. They have very conditional,
Yeah, I do actually.
transparent borders.
It sounds what I
and when
love his
crossing
Impossible
them,
Burger. I
citizens
tried it out of
feel
curiosity.
Wait, really? Is it
Yeah.
good?
I liked it. I love a smash burger. I thought it was awesome.
Here you go.
Thank you. He's like, yeah. You made the best use of like ghost kitchens. Damn, this is good.
Sorry. Trump is in PN. Oh, he's live?
Okay.
He's on? My king, dude.